Well, happy Monday to all of you, wherever you are. Let me know if you can see me and let me know if you can hear me. So grateful for you all being on. Do me a favor. Let's go ahead and share this, share this, share this. I want to make sure that as many people as possible are able to be on tonight. I'm excited about our guest being with us tonight. This is our third installment of Barrier Breaking Mondays. And it's my hope that our time together has been significant for you and meaningful to you. So I want you to go ahead and invite. I want you to go ahead and share. I want you to, as always, be present and engaged in the comments and be so grateful for you. But just let me know you can see us and hear us and all of that great stuff. And from there, we're going to jump right into our time together tonight. It is March the 1st. We are starting off the month strong. We have a superstar with us today. And I'm so grateful that she made time in her schedule to be here with us tonight. And I want to make sure that you all are prepared. So I want you to take just another moment, and I will bring her in, but I will take just another moment to make sure that you all are sharing this, that you all are ready, you all are engaged, and we'll get going from there. But I want to make sure that you're not just being stingy with the information, that you are sharing it and letting other people know. You know, it's one thing for you to grow, but what would happen if we make a decision that we're not going to just grow individually, but we're going to be committed to helping other people grow along the journey as well? If you think something is good, likewise, I'm sure other people would think the same thing. And so I want to make sure that you all are mindful of that. Well, again, for those who may not know by some chance who I am, I'm Teddy Matthews. I have the privilege of hosting these Barrier Breaking Mondays. It's something that is near and dear to my heart, as my conviction is that all of us have the opportunity and potential to get better, to become better, to overcome obstacles, and to honestly step into new realities, that all of us have the opportunity. It's up for us having the proper tools and being equipped in order to do so. And these nights are intended for that. I lead Empowerment Church as the pastor. I lead Empowerment Foundation as their executive director there. I do several other things in the community, but these nights in particular, Monday nights, are really about you, whoever you are and wherever you are, you getting the tools, you having the opportunity to ask questions and to engage with people who are doing incredible work, both locally, as well as we continue to host guests. You'll meet guests from all over the place. But for those who are watching from the Proviso in the greater Chicagoland area, it's been my commitment of the past 2 weeks and tonight to introduce you to individuals who I believe are making an incredible difference. And if you don't know who they are, you will find out tonight or whenever you watch this back. And I want to say thank you to all of our replay watchers. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you. Do me a favor. I want you as well to share this with other people later on. And so with no further ado, I want to bring out our special guest, Miss Deborah Vines, the autism advocate herself. She is a phenomenal individual, and I'm so excited to have her on. And there she is right there. So grateful to have you on with us tonight. We count it a privilege and an honor to have you with us. And so thank you so very much for you being all together tonight with us. How are you doing?
I am super grateful to be. I tell you, can I just be real transparent?
All the time. That's what we do.
When I got the inbox from you, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be interviewed by the amazing Teddy Matthews, Pastor Teddy Matthews, because I've seen your growth. I've just seen God work through you, and you make people excited about God. Because I promise you, if I didn't have an amazing pastor, you would be my pastor.
Wow. Well, thank you. I'm truly humbled by that. I told you before, I was humbled by your yes, and I'm humbled by your yes. I know your run, and I know this is the even busier season than usual for you. I know every season is busy, but I know this one is even more. So I want to say thank you for you being on with us today.
Oh yeah, I made it my business to be on. I ran away from that last meeting so I can be on.
No, thank you so very much. Well, I just want to I'm going to jump right in. I want to make the best use of our time together tonight. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read a bit of your bio. I know you have no problem introducing yourself to the world, and I want you to do that.
Me.
I want tonight to be a night where the world gets to have a glimpse of some of what some of us know. And I'm sure there are plenty of things you're even working on that some of us aren't even aware of yet, because you're always at work. God is doing an amazing work and has done an amazing work with you and through you. And I want anybody else to be able to be aware of it. So as a matter of fact, I'm not even going to do it, because here's what I'm going to talk. I'm going to intro, because I got a bio to read, but I'm not going to do that. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I know about you. I'm going to speak about what I know about this barrier breaker. And I want you to tell everybody else what else you're doing, because I'm trying to leave some things out. But from the time I've known you and from the time I've seen you, you've been an incredible autism advocate, leading your son, building with your son, which I think is even more amazing. I've met your other son as well, but you've just done incredible work in the local community and now just the greater Chicagoland area. Last time I talked to you, had courses in colleges. And I think that that's incredible in and of itself. A major champion for autism, but not just the autism advocate. I've seen you just do some incredible things for women, as well as do some incredible things to become advocates for fathers with children with needs, and just helping everybody understand that reality, that this is more than just a one facet concern, that this is a family concern. It's a community concern. It's a church concern. In addition to you taking incredible care of your health, I want you to talk about how many times you work. I want you to put these young folk to shame. I want you to talk about how seriously you take your health. I'm going to turn it over to none other than my sister, Deborah. Tell us a little bit about you tonight.
Okay, well, good evening again, and thank you again so much for inviting me. Well, again, my name is Deborah Vines, and I'm the founder and CEO. And when I say that, I've said it so many times, Pastor, but every time I say it, I just get so incredibly grateful and humbled, because God has truly brought me from the ashes. I mean, I am a phoenix that has risen from the ashes. I mean, and I'm grateful for everything that has happened in my life, because it has made me so grateful to be in the space that I am right now, because I didn't have to be here. God did not have to show me, because I know that all of us have gifts and talents, but he showed me what mine is. And I thought that I was going to be a supermodel, a runway model in Paris. And one time my late husband told me, I said, I want to model. I want to help people, but I want to model. He said, you better walk that runway for autism, because that's what you got to do. And that's what I've been doing for the last 13 years, outside of being my amazing 33-year-old son, Jason, who has autism. And the resources in our community were just so limited. And at that particular time, where it just started really getting on my nerves, Pastor, about not having any resources, Jason was really having a lot of behavior problems. He would bite himself until he bled. He would just bang his head against the wall. And I was just totally frustrated. So at the time, I was working for Ceasefire. I think you remember that. I was an outreach worker for Ceasefire. And Ceasefire ran out of funds. And my husband said, Deborah, you've been talking about helping people. Just help people. He said, gotta work it out. We'll figure it out. Don't worry about having a job. And we reached into our savings and we did what we had to do. And in 2007, The Answer Incorporated was born. And so The Answer Incorporated provides support, resources, education, recreation, and advocacy, not just for families impacted by autism, but developmental differences across the board. And the main reason why I wanted to start it, and I'm going to be real selfish, is because I did not have anybody to talk to outside of my friends who love me dearly. They love Jason dearly. They understand my plight, but they did not understand what my husband and I were going through on a daily basis. They were supportive in their own way. But being able to talk to another autism mom or an autism dad or advocate just changed my life totally. When we started The Answer, the parents just started coming out of the woodwork, because they were yearning for something for supportive services as well. So when we started in 2007, Pastor, we started with an open house at the Maywood Park District. And we invited the police department, the schools, the churches. We invited everybody. And it was over 200 and something people at that open house, because the the community needed something too. The legislators needed to have some place that they could send their constituents. The churches needed to have some place that they can send their parishioners. The schools needed some place to send their parents and their children to. And so the answer just opened up. It was that path for all of those entities to be able to get those supportive services. And to date, we have serviced over 4,000 families with what we do. Now, getting back to me personally, the last 15 years have definitely been challenging in so many ways, ups and downs. Lost my husband 2.5 years ago. During the Rauner administration, funds were very, very limited. I mean, we got down to being able to pay 1 month's rent. And God just kept opening doors and kept opening doors. And Pastor, I am so proud to say to this day, we have secured over $600,000 in grants and never, not once, been out of compliance. Not once been out of compliance. And that speaks volumes in non-for-profit world, because there's so many things that happen in non-for-profit that people just think, oh, you're just serving a community. But it's a lot of ins and outs with being a CEO. I mean, I know I make it look good because I'm having a good time. I promise I'm having the time of my life. I am. But it's a lot of work. And everybody thinks that they can do this work. You have to be called to do this work, because you have to make people feel what they need to feel. You need to make them know that you care about them, and that it's not, see, it's not about me. Jason is doing fine. I could take Jason and put him in any school. I could take him and put him in a day program. He's doing great. But the work that I do is for the community in every aspect.
No, absolutely. I love it. So major kudos to you, because one, I'm sure that many who are watching this that know you could say you make it look, you don't just make it look easy, but you make it look seamless in the way in which we can see you before COVID. We can see you in multiple rooms in a day, advancing, progressing, always smiling, always pushing forward, always looking for the greater good. And so major, even, while I was doing my best to pray with you and support you from afar throughout the loss of your husband, you still didn't miss a beat. Your passion for the work you were doing didn't miss a beat in terms of just kind of your commitment. In fact, if I was to take an assessment from my view, it seemed like you regardless of how you may have felt internally, it didn't stop your commitment to making sure the community was served, the people were served, and that the answer kept going forward. And so I commend you for it. And just even, Lorenzo's typing right now, you answered a call. I mean, in terms of what I can only imagine from what we've had to break through on so many different fronts, the lack of awareness in the communities, the lack of awareness in each of the sectors that you just mentioned. So to approach it was something that most of them were unaware of, ignorant of in the truest sense, and really afraid of, if we could just be honest, in terms of, what do I do? How do I do it? Do I want to dig into it? Right. And so you've pressed.
That's a very good statement, Pastor, because when you think about the people in our community and Black and brown communities, first, it's a lot of, I guess you would say, pride. It's a lot of pride, sometimes in the wrong places. And so when you add that layer of a special needs parent, we are peculiar people. We really are, because firstly, in a lot of ways, we're embarrassed. I mean, I'm not saying me, I'm saying we as a whole, because the community does not love on our children like we want them to. They stare at our kids because of the lack of education. But one thing that I can say, since the Answer Incorporated has been born, a lot of people are so in tune to autism and special needs. Now, I get, whenever it's something on TV, people will text me and say, did you see this on Channel 7? Or if I'm in the grocery store, the clerk will say, oh my God, I saw some more people from your group here today. So people are becoming more aware. And, a lot of times, Pastor, people say, Deborah, why do you go so hard? Why are you here? Why are you there? Why do you have Jason with you? I'm trying to lead by example. And I can talk. I can talk until I'm blue in the face. I can do webinars. I can pass out information. But what people have learned through me and other families that the Answer Incorporated services, that I encourage our families to take your kids in the community. Show the community that you're not ashamed, even if your kid acts out, because Jason is not always at his best behavior. I just know how to give him a look now. He's gotten a lot better. But our kids have meltdowns, they have breakdowns. They might walk in the store and the smell just might send them off. And that leads me into, preludes me into why trainings are so important. When we started the Answer Incorporated, Jake, I'm going to go back again to a lived experience. Jason had a serious medication meltdown to the point where I had to call the ambulance. The ambulance called the police, and it was just totally out of control. He was about maybe 12 or 13 years old. And the police officers just didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to comfort me. They handcuffed him and they carried him out of the house in a mummified state. And I vowed that if I ever was going to do anything for families, the first thing that I wanted to do is to train police officers. So we have been to the Maywood Police Department multiple times in several precincts throughout the Proviso Township and Chicagoland area as well. And something else that we're instituting, bringing into the Answer Incorporated's fold, is training retail merchants like Target, Walmart, all the big merchants, so that, you know, when we do bring our kids out and they have a meltdown, the clerks aren't just like, okay, what do I do now? What do I do now? How do I act? How do I console the parent? What are some redirectives that I can do to help this situation outside of everybody crowding around saying, I don't know what to do? You know, we want to be able to provide them that training in their orientations when they first start the job. So we're going to be working with the retail merchants. As soon as Springfield opens back up, we're going to have a big meeting with them. And I tell you, you know, my best, Katrina Thompson told me a long time ago, she said, Deborah, the answer is bigger than you. And she tells me that all the time. She says, bigger than you. She said, I just see big, big, big things. And she said this all the way from 2008. And I tell you, and I'm getting ready to make an announcement right now that I'm just so excited about, that it's been part of our vision as I look at the adults get older. And even me, even though I work real hard at looking 35, my oldest son is 47 today. So with that being said, we were granted $275,000 from Senator Lightford to open a residential home for about 4 men.
Wow.
And I'm so excited about that. I can just jump over down right now.
That's so awesome.
I know that that's nothing but God. I mean, someone that has come from where I came from, not being able to even have a checkbook for so many years, not being able to do a whole lot of things because of that X by my name. And we're being able to make these things happen because of a vision that God gave me, and I followed his directions. It's a lot of times I get these visions, Pastor. I don't want to do it. He's telling me about a paint party. He's telling me about social skills. He's telling me about taking them here, taking them on trips. I'm like, God, really? Right. But it's all good, though. It's good.
No, it's so awesome. So, what I would love for you to speak to a bit, tell us a bit about your story and some of the things you've had to overcome to even, as a CEO, it's Women's History Month, as a woman CEO, like this, we have to be honest about acknowledging the differences of them, right? You're a CEO, you're a woman CEO, you're an African-American woman CEO. So there's so many factors. If you could just tell us a little bit about you and some things you've had to overcome. Again, I want to do two things with you tonight specifically. I want people to hear more about the Answer Incorporated and how they can support, but I also want them to understand that it's possible, right? I think that there's almost an apathy, I sense, for believers and for non-believers, and just kind of this limited potential because of a lack of exposure, right?
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff right there. Because when I think about, you know, it's always barriers, Pastor. It's always barriers, but I'm such a kick down the door person that I just don't see it. I'm just like, I have tunnel vision when I want to do something. But the number one barrier is the fact that I'm a CEO of an African American non-for-profit. That's number one. And if I was a CEO of I guess you would say a brick and mortar, a business, it would be different. But when you say non-for-profit, it's just like even probably with you, Pastor. When you say non-for-profit, when you say church, the first thing people see us coming, they know they got to come out their pocket. Everybody knows now. When you see Deborah coming, just get your checkbook, write the check, because I'm gonna ask you for the check. So and I'm not gonna call it a barrier. I'm just gonna call that education for our community, because when we go in other ethnicity communities, they're raised to give, they're raised to be philanthropic, they're raised to understand the special needs, they're raised to love on the seniors, they're raised to pick up the paper outside and see. And that's the narrative that we need to change in our community, that taking pride in not just yourself but in your neighbor. We have people that going back to the barriers of the CEO, and even being Women's History Month, I had to honor my mother today. I was thinking about so many women that have been influential in my life and still are. But the first person I had to think about is my mother, because my mother was a 15-year-old bride who dropped out of high school in her sophomore year. But when I was about 13 years old, my mother decided to go back to school. And she got her GED. And, she was the second highest person in the Midwest to take the GED test, and then went on to college and then to begin to teach. And she retired from CPS. So when I started thinking about the things that she encountered with having 5 children and a husband, and did not know anything about the North, came from the South, came to the North, and how she raised us, and all of us, I have one deceased brother, but all of us are grown, we're healthy, we're good people. And to be able to think about my mom and how I want to be that catalyst, not just people's mother, but for the community. That's why, Pastor, I try to mentor as many people as I can, because someone had to tell me. I didn't know anything about being a CEO. I just knew I wanted to help people. I promise you. And somebody said, "Oh, Deborah, you can get a check for what you're doing." I was like, "Really? I didn't know that. I just want to help people." And the next thing you know, one thing just led to another. So I'm really adamant about, if someone comes to me and say, "Deborah, how can I do this? How can I do that?" Because a lot of times they think that it's a lot of money in what I do. It's not. It's servant. This is something you have to do from your heart. So another barrier is being a CEO. Most CEOs are men. They are. We are the minority. So when you walk in rooms and men are having conversations about funding and things like that, and when you come in and you actually know the lingo and you know what they're talking about and stuff like that, they still kind of give you this up and down, like, okay, here we go. Here's another woman that's getting ready to come in and snatch the money just because of, and we've been around forever. So it's a lot of barriers. Number one, being Black. Number one, being a woman. Number two, being a non-for-profit. Number three, being a non-for-profit. But I tell you, having the servantry heart is the main goal in what you want to do. Because I promise you, sometimes, Pastor, I don't know how I'm going to get things done. Sometimes I'm just so tired that I don't even want to do nothing. It's like I wake up and I work out and I just get that energy. God to give me one of those visions and I'm off and running again. So what I would say to the viewing audience is that whatever vision that God gives you, follow that vision, because he is going to make provision for your vision. Ooh, that's a t-shirt.
No, that's so good. That's so good. Like, ultimately, I think there's a truth that's there that some people aren't aware of or don't really realize. And I think that's kind of the difference between, honestly, if I was to say the difference between discerning, is this you or is this a calling? Is this something you want to, is this a good idea or is this divine?
And that, because when I think about even the run that I'm doing right now, running for trustee, I had to say, God, is this something that I just want to do? Or is this something that I'm called to do? And I tell you, even going through the campaign season right now, and I really didn't mean to segue that in, but I guess I might as well.
Part of who you are and what you're doing right now.
A couple of times, I'm being real honest, I was going to quit. I was going to quit the campaign because I just started looking at all the backbitingness and all the evilness and all the politics. And I just want to serve the community. I don't want to go back and forth with people. I don't want to be mean. I don't want you to be mean to me. I just want to serve the community. But I'm going to stay on the fast track. I'm going to keep this train moving. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, Pastor. And I'm going to see, where the cars lie. When I first made the decision and I was invited to run, the first thing I did, of course, was pray. Secondly, I said, God, if it's meant for me to win, thank you. If not, thank you. Because I promise you, I got so many other things to do. So many other things to do. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And even on that notion, I remember the day I was standing by you when you announced, and I remember the conversation we held. It was either right before or right after, and it was around that same notion. But I shared with you, like some who are watching this may remember, I ran for a position and actually in the proviso area before, and that was my exact sentiment. It was, Lord, if it's you, well, it'll take place, and if it's not, I'm still going to serve you anyway, and I'll serve you the best way I can.
Right.
So I commend you for stepping into public service in that regard. And so for those who are watching and aren't aware, Deborah is currently running for a trustee in the village of Maywood. And when is the election day?
The election day is April 6th, and I don't know what happened to my screen. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Okay. It happens. It's technology sometimes, but it's for those who are watching, and you can find out more information about Deborah's campaign, but what is everything that she has going on. I definitely want those of you who are watching this and may watch this back later who are unaware of who she is. I would love for you to look into her, look into the work that she is doing. You can find out more about the Answer Incorporated and the work that's being done for autism advocacy and awareness and support and resource. Like it's branched out into so much more than just kind of a one facet thing. I've watched the Answer Incorporated kind of grow and continue to expand. And again, it's education, and you're taking. I remember the horseback ride. I mean, you've done so much. And
Pastor, every initiative that we do was actually action to cause a reaction, right? So when we started the Answer, a lot of our students, our participants were like maybe 15, 16, 17. They were getting close to aging out of school. So when age 22 came, and I watched them, they didn't have number recognition, letter recognition, name recognition. It was really just something that just got on my nerves, right? And so I was actually working with Senator Lightford with her Saturday University, and I was the manager of her program. And I said, Senator, I just feel like I'm not doing my community, the community of people that I serve, justice. And I said, I want to start Spectrum University. And just like everything else that I bring to her, she's like, okay, Deb, let's do it. And we did. And we worked out of the Maywood Park District in partnership with Senator Lightford and the late, great Philip Jackson of Black Star Project. I think for about maybe close to 2.5 years. And the funding ran out. But guess what? We kept going. We ended up with a space, I think, at Broadview Park District for a little while. And then we ended up at Forest Park District. Doors just started opening. They just started opening. And then right now we end up in pandemic. But we didn't stop. We kept going virtually. And I tell you, I'm so excited about that program because the outcomes have been amazing, and just the personal experience. Jason didn't have any number recognition, letter recognition, name recognition, number recognition. Now he can freehand write his name. He knows words when he sees them, and we other participants now have jobs. They're helping out more at home because we actually have a social skills component to that program too. And then the Music in Me program was born because a lot of our participants were gaining weight. And I know that even just watching the participants, they love to dance. I said, well, we can just dance the pounds off. So we got the amazing Kendra Shabda, and she teaches dance. And then we have a nutrition component. Mary Danza, Mary, she teaches the nutrition component, and she's so amazing with our students that she teaches them, instead of picking up a bag of chips, let's learn how to make like a fruit taco or something like, I mean, the recipes are just amazing. Smoothies, everything. So guess what? They started losing weight. Started losing weight. The families are so excited. Every time I tell these stories, I get goosebumps because I see actual results from the work that we're putting in. And I have an amazing team. We're a small pebble in a big sea of sand, but we get a lot of stuff done.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I've done it so many times tonight, but I can't commend you enough on behalf of those who don't have the opportunity to, for the work you're doing, your work you've done, and just your grit and tenacity, which is actually what I want to ask you about. If you were to tell someone, you had the opportunity to tell a young you or to tell someone else some lessons you've learned about grit and perseverance, what would some of those be?
Firstly, I would say no to drugs. That's the first thing I would say, because for a very long time that was a dark area in my life, and for about 15 years of my life, I would say no to drugs. I would say don't even try them. If somebody's around you, just walk away, even if it's a friend of yours, because it stagnated a real big time of my life, and led me to do some things that I'm not proud of, but it's made me a better woman today. Secondly, I would say remain humble. Remain humble, no matter how many times people tell you that you're great, no matter how many awards that you get. Because I mean, I walk in my office and I promise you, Pastor, it's 45 awards that grace my walls. But I appreciate those awards because it's people showing me they appreciate the work that we do. I'm not gonna say me, I'm gonna say we, that we do, because I can't do it by myself. So remain humble, no matter how great you think you are, how great somebody tells you are. Remain humble, and have servantry on your mind. What can I do to please you, God? Because I tell you, for a long time in my life, I've always known God. I've been saved since I was 9 years old, but I never had the mindset that I have right now. How can I please you, God? What did I do today that was not pleasing to you that I can repent for right now and make me a better woman? Those are some of the things that I can definitely say will make someone's transition into early adulthood into senior citizen. It will make your life so much better. Have a stronger relationship with God and remain humble.
No, that's so good and that's so huge. I'm going to work in reverse order from what you just said. So, there's I believe strongly in the importance of having, a servant's towel on your arm in any room that you go in. That you're just in any room at any point in time, having that servant's towel on your arm, being there to serve. Right. For those who are spiritual, the Bible says that Jesus didn't come to serve, to be served. He came to serve. That the first shall be last and the last shall be first. That's a principle that we're all called to follow. But I want to say thank you for you being willing to be transparent about even your struggles. I think that the notion of people thinking that they have to be perfect has hindered a lot of progress.
Yes.
That everybody's thing isn't the same thing, but everybody has a thing.
Absolutely. And I was thinking about that just as I was driving home before I got on the call. I was thinking, it's so many people that want to do mean things and bitter things and go back to the glass house, throwing stones in glass houses. But getting back to me in my life, I'm so grateful where God has me right now that all I can think about is how can I help someone get from that side of the tracks to this side? Because I do still talk to women at like the Women's Treatment Center, women that I know that are still struggling with addiction and things like that. And again, leading by example. I'm not gonna give you $5, but I would talk to you and take you to a meeting. I would take you and get you something to eat. I would tell you some of the stories and struggles that I've been through that got me where I am right now. Been clean since June 24th, 2004. I remember those fours. I remember that day. I remember when it happened, because you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And this is just not with addiction. This is with just all types of behaviors. So when you get tired of being sick and tired and want to just change your life and change other people's lives around you, That's what's important, because it's not about you anymore. It's about what you can do for the masses.
And that's so good. Thank you so much for sharing that. Just honestly, like, it's bigger. Purpose is bigger than all of us, right? So all of us have a unique purpose that we were all created for specific assignments, for specific times, to do specific things, but none of those are designed for us. They might be done through us, but they're not designed for us. I love it in the chat. Somebody just typed that you don't look like what you've been through.
Amen.
You know, sometimes we say that and it's kind of like, oh, but it's so true. If you could speak to that, what do you do now, and what do you feel like are some things you would share in terms of that? Like you mentioned, you have your oldest turned 47, I think, today, right? I don't think anybody would have guessed that, unless, I think you've done that game before on Facebook. It was like, guess my age. Everybody got it wrong. Thousands commented and everybody got it wrong. If you could speak to some of, I think that's key and critical, because there's some things I know you do and there's some things I don't even know about, but I think it's key and critical because we specifically as a people, like, I love everybody, but as a people, if we're talking about demographics, we do not take good care of ourselves.
We don't. And I tell you, this is, I'm going to be totally honest. It started out from vanity, because I got tired of going to Ashley Stewart and I wanted to be able to go to the Guest store and buy some clothes. But it went further. It started, going into the fitness, into the nutrition. And even thinking about, Jason was a big part of it as well, because I started thinking about, although I feel great, I'm still 62. I think at the time I started this journey, I was in my 50s. I was like 59, right before my 60th birthday. And I said, I want to be around for as long as I can and to be as healthy as I can to take care of him. And so it started, like I said, with vanity, and then it went into the real deal of fitness and exercise. And you can't do one without doing the other. People think that, okay, I can just go to the gym and work out and then come home and eat a bag of bonbons. No, I'm juicing celery, I'm juicing carrots, I'm eating salads. Now, don't get me wrong. I still have my cheat days because I love fried shrimp, but I don't eat red meat anymore. And that's my personal choice, because it just kind of revolts me thinking about chewing flesh and stuff. I just kind of changed my mindset. But yeah, I go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and I work out at home sometimes. It's become like an obsession now. Yeah. But you know what? My phone is getting ready to go out, and I don't have a charger.
No, it's perfectly fine. I understand. It's technology. Well, listen, what we'll do is this. They're making your information available. If there's any closing thought that you could leave us with your closing thought, and then we'll let you go.
My closing thought in the autism community would be, love on someone with special needs. If you want to ask a question, ask the question. Don't just stand there and stare. Or everyone has someone in their family with special needs. Call that person up and give them some encouragement. And if not someone with special needs, just call somebody and love on them today, because we need all the love we can get. And as it relates to just being a good human, just be a good human. Be a good human.
No, that's so needed. Thank you so much for your time tonight. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me. So can I give the audience my phone number, so that the answers phone number, so that they can call?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's 708-296-5651, and our website is theanswerinc.org. Call us for services. The number is a 24-hour number. I promise you, if nobody answers right away, we will call you back within an hour. I promise. Because that was one of the things that I vowed that I was going to do, make sure that I answered the phone for people. And that's what we do.
That's so awesome. Well, thank you so very much. Well, you have a great night. Thank you all so much for being on tonight. And we'll be back on again for another Barrier Breaking Mondays next Monday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So thank you so much. And I'll talk with you all later.
All right. Bye.